we're going to get our first look at Deion Sanders' Colorado team. What do you expect out of that game? I know we were talking about it a little bit during the break. There's a lot of what ifs, but the only what if I don't think is going to ever happen is him winning this game.
You know, this game feels like the lead up to it has been like Deion is the kid who's been talking a lot of smack in the hallways. He's been mouthing. He's got a little crew. People are like, I'm on team Deion. They sit with him at lunch. And someone says, oh, yeah, 3 o'clock out in front of the buses. Let's see what you got. And then Deion gets absolutely destroyed. Like, right now the line is plus, for them it's TCU minus 20.5. You don't think that TCU has probably been hearing all this talk leading up to this game. Shedeur may be a Heisman candidate and Deion's going to come out guns a-blazing. Man, TCU is probably going to say, we don't want to punt this game. So it might be one of those games that if it gets away early, the talking the chirping might get a little bit louder from the TCU side. And I don't know if you could get deeper into plus money. You might be able to find a line that gets you into minus 25, 26.5, maybe 27.5 that I would probably jump on and say, look, if you get me to plus money, I don't see Colorado being in this game within 30.
I think it's going to be a dragging. I think the 20.5, I'll take that, please. Yes. Yeah. TCU is going to win by more than 21 points, and I think it's going to be pretty clear. It's one of those situations where people got to remember, I know everything he brought to the SWAC. Yeah. Deion's SWAC team, Jackson State, wasn't the best HBCU team. When they got outside of
my school.
Huh?
Probably my school, North Carolina A&T, but we're not going to flex the Aggie pride here.
No, but hey, bring the pride up, because when he got out of the SWAC and they got to the championship game, they always lost by a good amount every time that he was there. And Deion came into a situation in the SWAC where he brought Division I talent there, right, to Jackson State. And shout out to him because he brought them to Jackson State and did a lot for HBCUs while he was there.
Conversation, yep.
Put conversation, getting on TV, et cetera, et cetera. But he just had far better talent than everybody else that he was playing against in the SWAC, and that's why he dominated. Now that he's going to Colorado, you ain't got the better talent, at least not right now, right? And so you're not facing teams that you go, well, I got D1 talent in the SWAC, so I'm just going to win. No, that other team has better talent has better talent or equal talent as you do, so you're really going to have to coach. I don't really feel like, and I'm not saying Deion can't coach, but we haven't really seen him and his staff really have to out-coach people. And when they've had to out-coach people, they've lost in those championship games when they've gotten out of the SWAC. So I think it's going to be sort of a rude awakening for Deion all this year and saying, okay, we really have to coach. Things really have to move our way. And it's still, they have Colorado talent from last year when they were going over. Right? Some of that talent is still there. And then you have no continuity because everybody's new. So you mix that in with no continuity, with guys who aren't used to playing Division I opponents, to a team that's top 25 and thinks they have a chance at the playoffs, and somebody who's getting all the attention. TCU, like, we're not getting no attention. Like you said before, we gonna show you what this is. So again, I think we're both on the same bandwagon in regards to what we think is going to happen in this game. What do you think about Colorado for the rest of Deion's tenure, whether it's this year, 2 years, 3 years? Where do you think this thing could go?
I'm staying away from the upset, but I am also staying away from Penn State covering that total. They've got to try and blow this spread out, man. I literally think the spread in their mind has to be somewhere around 27.5, right? Because if Ohio State and Michigan are always going to be in this 1-2 dance until they get to see each other, you're another one of these teams that really has to just put the foot on the neck of a team from a quality division, right? So, look, Penn State is one of those teams that gets you excited and it gets to a Saturday night game with a whiteout and everybody gets blacked out. So, look, I think they'll win the game easily. That's not the case at all. I do like the under on this game. I think there'll just be one of those things that I just don't buy them covering the 20.5. I think they'll win. I don't think the game will ever be in question. But I think that game might be a 14. It might only be a 2-touchdown game. and that could hurt their number in terms of where they stand in terms of, staying in that top 5 area for the chase for that championship.
Yeah, I think they win solidly, but I don't think they win. You know what I mean? This could be a 31-10 type of matchup. You know what I mean? Like I do think it's going to be, slightly. It's gonna be like right there. So I wouldn't trust it enough to actually go for the spread, but I do understand the under. Like Penn State's never been the one to check up the score and be able and be talented enough to do that overall since probably say 2015 Saquon Barkley and those guys would really beat up on some of the bad competition. But Drew Allar coming in as his first year as the quarterback, and what type of, I don't want to say jitters, but adjustments he's going to have to make in order to really take a strong hold of this team. And again, I've talked to people who've said that they feel like this is the first time Penn State has had a quarterback that'll go in the first round since, Kerry Collins. And it was maybe Michael Robinson, but Michael Robinson didn't go in the first round. He went much later as a, Swiss Army knife. So they feel like Drew Allar, the people I know covering him, is going to be that talent of a quarterback. But that's later down the line. Clemson, Duke, 9th ranked Clemson. Again, we were just talking about them. The spread is 13, right? Obviously, Clemson's way over under is 55.5. That's a smaller spread than I thought. What do you have for this game?
I'm staying away from this game, and the reason being is I don't know if Duke is ready for the prime time situation like Clemson has been accustomed to. I think it's a little bit of a trap number. One, there's no hook, right? That's a sign to me right there. Mm-hmm. 2, it's also saying that 2 touchdowns play a factor into this number. Do I think that Clemson is not going to throw the ball around, right? They're like Penn State historically is going to run the ball. So Clemson's not going to be an air it out team, and Duke is going to try and throw it. So maybe the way this line is laid out is that they feel like there's a garbage time touchdown that brings this game out of the 20s into the teens, right? Like they went for the 2-point conversion, and now it's a 13-point game. You're like, oh my gosh. So I'm staying away from it just because it feels like it's a late score trap game. If the line moves, you still have some time over the weekend. If this line moves to 14.5 towards Clemson, which would be a considerable move, but it would also tell me that the odds makers now believe that Clemson is not even going to be touched in this game with Duke.
I think Clemson wins this game solidly. Again, if my predictions are correct, I think they lose to Florida. I think Florida State loses, and then now Clemson goes, yo, if we got any chance of this playoffs, we gotta beat everybody by 40 to get in, right? So I think Clemson really is like, all right, even if they get into a situation late in the game where they're up 14 or they're up, 11, they can't be like, all right, 2 minutes left, we're up by 11. They ain't got no timeouts. We got to just run this out. They're like, nah, we got to score again. Right? But I think it's that serious. We got to score again if we want a chance at our overall goal.
Wouldn't that go kind of against Dabo Swinney's kind of like creed, if you will? Or
Dabo's a hypocrite.
I'm not going to go all there, and I'm not going to get into it. But, it's one of those situations where it's kind of like, like I can hear him say, what do we have to prove by running up and getting another touchdown just to make sports bet odds makers happy? We should have won in the first half. And this is where I think this is why it's such a low number. Clemson is known to be a slow starting team. And if you remember what happened with their quarterback situation last year, it's more solidified this year. But what if that isn't solidified? So, quarterback in Clemson can get very interesting and sticky early in games. And let's just say this is a game that's only like 17-7 at the half. All right. Now you're talking about a 10-point spread, and you're like, okay, Clemson they have to do more to cover the spread. And does Duke score again? So that's why it's a considerably low number, because Clemson they may be dominating, but maybe only up 17-7 at the half. And that would be a problem for the spread.
That's true. I just think Dabo is going to do whatever he needs to do for his program. And the best thing for his program is to run that score up. And I think he's traditionally has done whatever is best for his program, regardless of what he may have said so in the past.